It's an annual event, a day set aside in many Western countries to honor and remember those in the military who served and made the ultimate sacrifice. Here in the United States, the day was marked by ceremonies across the country and in the nation's capital, a time for reflection and introspection. But as some of today's veterans return from Iraq and Afghanistan, the horror of war is following them back home. Post-traumatic stress, traumatic brain injury, lost limbs, suicide, homelessness, and a dysfunctional government bureaucracy struggling to meet their needs. Later, we'll talk with a retired U.S. general focusing on many of these issues, but we begin with a relatively new term being heard among U.S. veterans coping with the after effects of war: moral injury. It's a condition that manifests itself with profound feelings of guilt, anger, and shame. And as CCTV's Roza Kazan reports, its symptoms are particularly difficult to treat.
That's my jet. That's me doing a re-enlistment ceremony.
Kyle Rotke, a U.S. Air Force veteran, served in Iraq and Afghanistan, providing air support to ground troops and directing airstrikes. He had planned for a lifelong career in the military, but was medically discharged in 2012.
A lot of anger issues, a lot of outbursts, not sleeping were the two biggest things ever. My wife was saying I was coming back, I was a different person.
He was officially diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. But Kyle believes he deals with a condition known as moral injury, with his mission still haunting him.
It's, pretty much kill or be killed. I supported them, but, we have to do everything we did. So where is it any women or children, any places we drop bombs on? I don't know.
The psychiatric community that introduced the concept of moral injury defines it as the result of violating one's own personal moral values during wartime, distinct from PTSD. It's a condition retired Major General James Mukayama and his organization want the public to know more about, speaking at special events for veterans like this one.
You don't have to be the trigger puller. You don't have to be the person that violates the code. You could be a witness, or you could be part of an operation that does things like killing people.
That makes sense to Kyle, who says that although he didn't directly kill or hurt anyone, by calling airstrikes, he was part of the killing chain.
I try to come up with answers, but it's hard. It's if someone's in the wrong place, wrong time, you hope, and then they're a casualty. You just want to hurt the bad guys. You don't want to hurt the innocent people, and that's what kind of bothers me.
Mukayama says moral injury is the primary cause of veteran suicide, with 22 veterans taking their own lives each day, according to official statistics.
We lose more veterans to suicide in 1 year than all of the combat deaths since 9/11.
He says moral injury can be similar to PTSD in its manifestations, such as feelings of anger, guilt, and shame. But unlike PTSD, the treatment, Mukayama believes, must expand beyond therapy and medications.
One of the best ways is through service to others. If you can give the veteran the opportunity to serve others, that will help build back their sense of self-worth.
They can understand it a little bit more, but no one understands PTSD because not everyone's been in the war zone.
Kyle believes making a distinction between moral injury and PTSD can go a long way in helping veterans.
Moral injury, you don't need a doctor to tell you moral injury. It comes to one question, did you violate your conscience?
Officials at the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs told us they are aware of moral injury, though its treatment falls into the same category as PTSD. And that may not change anytime soon, since the medical community doesn't recognize moral injury as a distinct diagnosis. For now, many psychologists say the best treatment for veterans is outside a hospital, in their own communities, and in the company of fellow veterans. Roza Kazan, CCTV, Chicago.